everybody, and boppity boopity, bippity boppity, boopity bippity boo, which apparently to Lunkex means question and answer in Italian. And usually I don't really check around the languages that people give me and just go for it, but this time I'm a little bit suspect about this version of Italian. I mean, I can obviously tell it's obviously part of the higher echelons of speak. It's a very complex sentence, but does it actually mean subscriber question and answer? I think an Italian should clue me in what this actually means. Anyway, on to the questions. So, the hoodie says, have you ever seen Star Citizen? And yes, I'm really following Star Citizen quite closely, and at the moment for me, just because it's only like a combat alpha where you're testing out ships and fighting in sort of like a deathmatch arena for, well, like a deathmatch space arena, it doesn't completely draw me in at the moment. I'm kind of waiting for it to become a bit more developed and have some of the open world aspects and some of the more RPG aspects that Freelancer had, and games like that. And also, I'm really interested in their FPS module and how everything's really going to pan out and make a whole game experience that sort of suits everybody's needs. It could really be the game, like the game of this decade, I guess. And I'll definitely be playing it. Okay, Nick Pereira says, you always talk about your charity work and so on. Can you show us how is or what is your work? Because of the nature of the Citizens Advice Bureau, absolutely and everything is confidential, and we go through a lot of confidentiality training, basically meaning that we can't divulge any client's information. But to give you like a background of what I do there is, firstly I'm a GA, which is like a generalist advisor, and basically I advise people on like the first level of legal advice. Like, basically a lot of people come to us because they can't afford a solicitor, and we just use a system that tells us the most recent changes in the law and what the law means. We've had training to deal with, like, I think the term's paralegal advice, where it's just not quite full legal advice. But I also do something called advocacy, which is helping people with health problems to fill in forms or to appeal decisions on benefits things. A lot of people actually come in because they've been knocked off of the disability benefits in the UK. Well, there's a big problem with private health investigations here, and I'm sure there are people that do cheat the system, but there are a hell of a lot of people who are seriously disabled and they get 0 points in this medical questionnaire, and it is quite sickening. But I help people write quite a professional appeal to these decisions, basically. And all sorts of things, and it's people really with mental health issues or well, any sort of disability, and we help them out. And then fourthly, I'm also doing training at the moment, not fourthly, it's thirdly, I'm doing training at the moment to be like the session supervisor. So all the advisors come to me and ask me questions, and I have to read through their things because I've been there for a year, so I volunteered to go on the next step and be a supervisor, and also it's interesting. And yeah, but I can't show you what we do because it's all confidential. Eva Pringle says, greetings Joshino, you mentioned a board game, Whitechapel, here, and as a rather avid board gamer, I was wondering how often you get to play them, and if you have any recommendations. Perhaps we ought to meet up for a game of D&D someday. Cat face, which is like a... You can't do a cat face. Anyway, yeah, I play, basically, I've got a friend who lives in the city, and we all go there and gather there, and he's got board games stacked up on his shelves. I've actually posted a picture on Twitter of all the board games he's got laid out, and we go there and have a curry, bottle of wine, and play board games all night, which is always fun. So I've just split it up. Games that are really fast and quick, and we'd like to do before we play a big game. There's Kings of Tokyo, which is really fun. Basically, you pick a monster, and you're fighting over the city of Tokyo, and you try and kill the other monsters with dice rolls and like powers that you buy with cards. And also you get points by staying inside of Tokyo, where you actually get hit by all of the enemies, but inversely you hit all of the enemies. So yeah, it's like a balancing act of trying to kill somebody and trying to heal yourself, and it's quite a fun thing, and it could last only like 10 minutes. And then there's another game called Smash Up, where there's different decks of cards with different like races, I guess, in like terms of an RPG or something, and they all have different attributes. Like there's a strength-based one that replicates, so you have loads of little things, and basically you put them all down, face down, and you pick two, and you bring those two races together and make a pack to fight each other with, which is always fun, and I really enjoy that game actually. And that one's also another quick one. Like medium games, I really like Jamaica, which is a game where you have a pirate ship and you're trying to get around a map, like a race almost. And along that map you get gold and you get money, and you have to fill up your cargo holds, and you get points for how much gold you have, and you get points for how far towards the end point you are when the first person that crosses the finish line gets there, and that person gets a lot of points. And it's just hectic because if you land the same tile, then you have to fight, which is always fun. Another game that's sort of a medium length one is Small World. It's quite similar to Smash Up. I think you smash up two different races, or several different races, and you keep picking these races and trying to take over a whole map rather than just fighting two decks of cards. And then for longer games, I really enjoy Eldritch Horror, which is a co-op game. You basically play all these different roles of detectives, but there's all different types of detectives. There's ones that are good at there's different types of tests. There's like a strength test where you're fighting, mind tests where you can go insane, and like lore tests where you're good at artifacts or whatever. And you're trying to go around the map, stop these portals from opening and all these monsters coming out from these portals, and you're fighting like an overlord demon at the end of the game, and you're trying to beat all of his minions, and he has like all of them have different special powers which affect the game and survive towards the end of the game. And each phase has different actions that happen, like a portal will open which will suck everybody into it or something like that. And that's really, really fun. And also, we played recently a game called Dominant Species. Basically, you pick a species and try and evolve to be the most dominant in an area. And it's quite an aggressive game where you're trying to wipe out all the other species and become the dominant one. And that game, we've only played it once, but it was really fun. So those are my recommendations for the moment. But I'm sure I'll have more as time goes on. Dan360 Pro says, new hairdo, Joshino. And actually back then it was just more of the fact that I couldn't afford a haircut, and I was just being like, well, do I want to buy a haircut or just want, keep it as is? But then thankfully I got offered a free haircut, so look, I've got a new hairdo. What do you think? Anyway, Marv DE says, is that old footage? And is there some sneaky, beaky way to activate motion blur? And he says about 15 minutes into the last video. And I don't know, there might have been an old video mixed in there, but quite a lot of the footage was newer. Because I've basically I've used all of my old footage almost. So maybe there was like a random clip in there from old gaming. It might have been an ESF one, because I keep finding ESF ones where I've had like a good streak and it's just randomly from a long time ago. Draco Epic says, yo Josh, you got an outfit in PS2, if so could I join it? So the first outfit that I'm in on my VS, or my main character, is Vib, but nobody really is around at the moment. They're all playing CSGO and other things, and it's just there for like namesake, and there's a real point in joining it. Similarly, on NC, I'm not really in an outfit, I'm just in like a placeholder NCIB. And on TR, I'm on 2CA, but they've become defunct, so they don't even exist anymore. So all my outfits are kind of unjoinable. What I do say is that if I do play squad play, I usually go onto NC and play with Mukas squad, so it might be worth talking to Mukas, because he just lets me join, because I'm fairly competent. And also on the VS side, I'll just join anybody, to be honest, if I want that sort of play. But then I'm also, when I'm playing game, I'm like bumming about and doing silly things on my own and just keeping myself occupied. So I don't know if I'm that great to squad up with. Jamie Herzig says, how many brand new players do you think you could take in a solo base cap? He's insinuating that newer players are worse at the game and more oblivious, and you can take them out. I did put a video out quite a long time ago about the, what do I call it, the clueless syndrome or something like that, where new players, they don't have the sort of 3D experience of how Planetside 2 pans out, because all the maps are sort of three-dimensional, and you, like especially on towers, people come from anywhere because of light assaults, and a lot of people, you a lot of people come from other games where you can rely on your teammates, but in Planetside 2, you're sort of on your own a lot more, and it's harder to trust somebody because there could be an infiltrator behind you taking advantage of everybody, and because there's so many people around, there could be an infiltrator just weaving out, killing a few people and weaving out again. And how many can I take? I don't know, I'm quite a bashful person, so I don't want to sound big-headed, but it really depends, because not all low battle rank people are bad at shooting. I guess it's more the situation you find yourself in. If it's a base where it's indoors and you can easily go in and out as a light assault and then find somewhere to jump down again, maybe it could be 20s of people, because I mean, if you look at some of my other kill streaks, that's where it happens really. And they're not that uncommon to have like a kill streak of 10 or more, because you're weaving in and out and getting on a point. But I don't know whether I'd be actually able to take the point, because there might be medics there, rezzing them and everything. So, I don't know, it's up in the air. Some new players are really good shots, but then may not have a full grasp of the map. So you can easily get killed by somebody just by getting shot. And all the default weapons are as good as the paid for weapons, so they're on an even footing there. Foster on Briggs says, do you think SOE is nerfing fun? Not really, to be honest. I don't think they're nerfing fun, and also SOE doesn't exist anymore. It's Daybreak Games, or Gaming? Daybreak Gaming? I don't think they're nerfing fun. They do like nerfing, but is it nerfing fun? I just think that they probably listen a little too much to community feedback at times, and to take it the wrong way. Like, instead of taking it the way that something's not quite working to balancing it out, they'll nerf something. Not because it's... and yeah, I don't think they're nerfing fun, to be honest. Total Max 13 says, what was with all those pauses? It sounds like you're having breathing problems. Maybe it's just bad cuts between where I've looked down at my paper and tried to think of which question to do next, and then I pause and then probably re-edit it into the next part, so it sounds a bit weird. I might be going maybe, I don't know. I didn't notice that when I edited it, so maybe it's just me not picking up on my own breathing habits. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I'll hopefully have a video out tomorrow of some description. It should be a serious video if I'm going by my schedule, but as you can all tell, I'm actually having a bit of a hectic time. I don't really want to go into it, but there's things happening at the moment that are quite personal and not in a good way. And also I'm going for a job really badly, a part-time one, so I still have time to do videos and such, but the thing is, I need to get a job before May time, because I need to pay off my overdraft, my student overdraft, which is about £500, which isn't a lot, so I really need a job for about 3 weeks, either a full-time one or a part-time one. But I'm going for a paid one in Citizens Advice at the moment, which, fingers crossed, I've got an interview on next Tuesday, so wish me luck. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy my content and whatever. Please put a comment in the question below and sort of question me on something. It could be anything. It can be stupid. It can be like, what underpants are your favourite? If you had to wear girls' clothes, what would you wear? I don't know, something ridiculous. It could be that. It could be about games. It could be about Planetside 2. I'm happy to answer absolutely anything. Be sure to like if you enjoyed it, and dislike if you didn't enjoy it, because, you know, it helps if I've done something bad and you tell me you don't like it, which is good. And subscribe if you want to see and hear more of me. Until next time, everybody. Joshino. Bye! Volokane Wadi Lilahul Lan Akfarad, which apparently is Monday question and answer, which this episode is.